What if the sting of rejection was not an arrow from another's bow, but a phantom of your own creation? This is the profound truth that lies at the heart of emotional mastery, a secret held by the Stoics for centuries. Join us as we unlock the path to unshakable confidence. Dealing with feelings of rejection, self-control, Stoic emotion, compiled and published by Stoic Dominion. Lesson 1. The root of rejection: pain. The pain of rejection is not a wound inflicted from the outside, but an internal echo of a story we tell ourselves. We have all felt the sharp personal sting of a door closed in our face, a message left unanswered, a hope that dissolves into the cold air of indifference. This experience unleashes a torrent of inner turmoil, a painful narrative that whispers of our inadequacy and worthlessness. The transformative solution offered by the great Stoic thinkers is not to build thicker walls to avoid this pain, but to realize that the source of our suffering lies not in the event itself, but in our interpretation of it. The key is to reclaim the sovereign power of our own judgment. By understanding this core principle, we can begin to gently uncouple our inner state from the unpredictable actions of others, finding a profound stability within our own minds. Imagine a consciousness that is no longer a leaf tossed in the wind of external events, but a deep, calm lake reflecting the sky, unperturbed by the ripples on its surface. To walk this path, you must begin with simple, actionable steps. First, when the feeling of rejection arises, do not fight it. Simply observe the raw sensation as it moves through you, without adding a layer of judgment. Second, bravely ask yourself, what specific story am I telling myself about this event? Finally, practice the art of separation. Acknowledge the objective fact: I was not chosen for the role, or they ended the relationship, and consciously separate it from the emotional story you have attached to it, such as, this means I am a failure. As you practice this, you will cultivate a growing sense of inner peace and unshakable self-reliance, a quiet confidence that is not dependent on the world's applause. Your first exercise on this path is this. For the next 7 days, practice this sacred separation of event and judgment with any small setback you face. View each instance not as a failure, but as a single, perfect repetition in the training of your mind. But what is it that fuels this painful narrative in the first place? In our next lesson, we will come face to face with the primary architect of our emotional overreactions, the ego. If you are finding this journey toward inner strength valuable, consider liking this video and subscribing to Stoic Dominion to continue your training in mental fortitude. Lesson 2. Ego and emotional overreaction. The ego is a relentless ghost, haunting the silent halls of our mind and demanding validation at every turn. Rejection then becomes the cruel mirror in which it is forced to see its own imagined flaws. We often find ourselves bewildered by our own reactions, when a seemingly minor slight or a simple no triggers a disproportionate storm of anger, shame, or despair. This tempestuous inner weather is not a true reflection of the event, but rather the outcry of an ego that has built its home on the unstable ground of external approval. The transformative path of the Stoic is to tame this ghost, not by fighting it, but by observing its demands with a serene and compassionate awareness. The solution is not to destroy the ego, but to cease obeying its every command for validation. The core of this practice lies in understanding that our ego mistakenly attaches our sense of self-worth to outcomes we cannot control. By severing this tie, we can remain whole, centered, and dignified, regardless of the ever-shifting opinions of the world. Imagine yourself as a stone fortress, its foundations deep within the earth, unbreached and unmoved by the arrows of judgment that may fly from the outside. The actionable steps to build this inner fortress are clear and direct. First, you must learn to identify the ego's voice, to recognize that subtle but insistent inner monologue that demands to be right, to be admired, or to be included. Second, when you feel the familiar sting of rejection, simply name the demand internally. This is my ego seeking validation. This act of naming creates a space between the demand and your reaction. Finally, with this awareness, practice a calm indifference. Consciously choose not to feed the ego's insatiable hunger, allowing the demand for praise to pass like a cloud across the vast sky of your mind. The benefit of this practice is a profound and liberating freedom, the quiet joy that comes from no longer needing the world to approve of you to feel whole. Your practice for this week is one of mindful observation. Keep a mental or written note of every time your ego flares up in response to a perceived slight. This simple act of noticing is the first and most crucial step in disarming its power over you. Taming the ego creates a sacred space within us, a quiet room free from its incessant noise. Our next lesson will teach us how to furnish this inner room by cultivating the profound power of inner distance. What has been your greatest struggle with the ego? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and let us learn from one another on the shared path to inner strength. Lesson 3. The power of inner distance. Within every mind, there is a silent watchtower, a place of serene perspective from which we can observe the storms of emotion without ever being swept away by them. All too often, we experience the suffocating feeling of being utterly consumed by an emotion. In these moments, the anger or the sadness is us, and there is no space left for rational thought or calm perspective. This is the inner chaos that rejection so often ignites, a wildfire that seems to burn away our very sense of self. The transformative solution offered by the Stoics is the practice of creating a view from above, a deliberate cultivation of mental and emotional distance from the immediacy of any event. This is the profound art of becoming the calm, unshaken observer of your own thoughts and feelings. The core idea is not one of emotional suppression, but of wise perspective. This inner distance allows you to see an emotion for what it truly is, a transient, impersonal event passing through your consciousness, much like the weather. The immense benefit of this practice is the gift of clarity and the freedom to choose a reasoned response, rather than being a slave to a knee-jerk reaction. The steps to cultivating this inner distance are gentle and can be practiced by anyone. First, in a moment of calm, close your eyes and visualize yourself ascending to a high place, a watchtower or a mountaintop, from which you can look down upon yourself and your current situation. Second, from this vantage point, begin to narrate the scene with objective detachment. The body is experiencing a sensation of heat in the chest. The mind is currently producing thoughts of anger and injustice. Finally, with each slow breath, feel the space between you, the calm observer, and the emotion, the thing being observed, expand and grow. As you cultivate this practice, you will experience the growing sense of tranquility and control that comes from the deep knowing that you are more than your fleeting emotions. You are the sky, vast and eternal, not the passing storm. Your exercise is to practice this 2-minute visualization each day, and especially in the very moment you feel a strong emotion begin to rise. This is how you build your inner citadel, not with frantic effort, but with quiet, consistent practice, brick by brick. Once we have learned to create this sacred inner distance, we can begin to work with the story of rejection itself, not as its victim, but as its editor. The next lesson will show us how to transform our perspective entirely, reframing what rejection truly means. If this concept of the inner watchtower resonates with you, please share this video with someone who might also benefit from this ancient wisdom. Lesson 4. Reframing what rejection means. Rejection is not a final verdict on your worth, but merely a redirection from the universe. It is a door that closes only to guide you toward the path you were always meant to walk. We are conditioned to view rejection as a definitive and personal failure, a stark sign that we are deficient or lacking in some fundamental way. This heavy perspective becomes a crushing burden, limiting our willingness to take risks and pursue our deepest aspirations. The transformative solution lies in the Stoic art of reframing, of consciously choosing a more empowering and useful interpretation of events. The solution is to learn to see rejection not as a painful setback, but as invaluable information. The core idea behind this reframe is to understand that every no we receive is simply a piece of data. It is not a judgment of our soul. It might mean, not this particular way, not at this particular time, or most hopefully, there is a better, more aligned opportunity waiting for you elsewhere. This liberating perspective frees us from the paralysis of perceived failure and opens our hearts and minds to a world of new possibilities. The actionable steps to becoming an alchemist of perspective are straightforward. First, allow yourself to acknowledge the initial sting of disappointment without judgment. Do not deny the feeling. Second, after the initial emotion has softened, ask yourself the great reframing question: what might this rejection be making possible for me? What new door might this closed one be opening? Finally, search for the lesson with genuine curiosity. Did this experience reveal a weakness that you can now strengthen, a desire that needs to be reevaluated, or a new direction that you had not previously considered? The benefit of this practice is a profound shift from a victim mentality to that of a curious and resilient student of life, one who is always learning, adapting, and growing. True resilience becomes the natural and effortless byproduct of this empowered perspective. Your call to action is to take a past rejection that still holds a sting for you. Set aside 10 minutes to write down all the possible positive outcomes, lessons, or new directions that could have, or still could, come from that single event. This is the practical alchemy of a Stoic mind. This ability to reframe life's events is immensely powerful, but it must be built upon a foundation of solid rock. In our next lesson, we will explore the most crucial element of all: anchoring your sense of value in a place that no external event can ever touch. Help our community of modern Stoics grow by hitting the subscribe button and turning on notifications for more lessons on mastering your inner world. Lesson 5: Anchoring in self-worth. If your sense of self is a ship, then to anchor it in the harbor of others' opinions is to condemn it to be tossed and battered by every passing storm. The only truly safe harbor is the one you build within your own soul. Many of us live with a quiet, gnawing anxiety that comes from seeking external validation. The constant, exhausting need for likes, compliments, promotions, and approval. This way of living makes our inner peace incredibly fragile, entirely dependent on forces that lie forever outside of our control. The transformative solution, and the Stoic ideal, is to discover and anchor your worth in the one place it can never be taken from you: your own character and your commitment to virtuous action. The ultimate solution is to build an unshakable inner citadel of self-worth, a fortress of the spirit that stands independent of the world's praise or criticism. The core idea is that true, enduring self-worth is not derived from what you have, but from who you are. It comes from the deep, quiet knowledge that you are committed to living by your highest values, to being honest, courageous, just, and disciplined in your own life. These things are entirely and completely within your control. The benefit of this shift is a deep, abiding confidence that cannot be shaken by rejection, criticism, or failure. The steps to anchoring yourself in this inner harbor are a form of sacred practice. First, take the time to clearly define your core values. What principles such as integrity, compassion, or perseverance are most important to you? Write them down. Second, each evening, review your day through this lens. Instead of asking, "Was I successful today? Was I liked?" ask, "Was I virtuous today? Did I act with integrity?" Finally, learn to celebrate your virtuous actions. Acknowledge and take a quiet, dignified pride in the moments where you lived up to your own highest principles, regardless of the outcome. As you engage in this practice, you will begin to feel the quiet confidence of a person who is their own judge. You will move through the world with a new sense of grace and purpose, your inner fire fueled from within, burning steadily and brightly. For 1 week, make this evening review a sacred and non-negotiable practice. Actively shift your focus from the chaotic world of external results to the ordered world of your internal character. This is the solid foundation upon which a truly unconquerable mind is built. With our anchor firmly set in the harbor of our own self-worth, we can begin to see adversity in an entirely new and empowering light. Our next lesson will reveal how rejection, once a source of deep pain, can become our greatest and most effective training ground. What are the core values you choose to anchor yourself in? Let us know in the comments below. Your personal insights can be a source of inspiration for others on this path. Lesson 6: Rejection as a training ground. The devoted Stoic does not pray for a life without obstacles. They pray for the strength to overcome them. Rejection, in this light, is not a wall that blocks our path. It is a whetstone upon which we sharpen the blade of our resilience. It is a natural human instinct to avoid pain and seek comfort. This instinct whispers to us that rejection is a danger, something to be feared and avoided at all costs. Listening to this voice leads to a small, timid, and constricted life, a life lived within the narrow confines of what feels safe. The transformative solution offered by Stoicism is to flip this perspective entirely, embracing the powerful concept of the obstacle is the way. The solution is to cease running from rejection and other hardships, and instead to actively and courageously embrace them as invaluable opportunities for growth and practice. The core idea is simple yet profound. Just as a muscle can only grow stronger when placed under resistance, our character is fortified and tempered by facing life's challenges head-on. Rejection, from this viewpoint, becomes a perfect and welcome opportunity to practice all the lessons we have learned so far. Managing the ego's outcry, creating inner distance, reframing the narrative, and anchoring in our true self-worth. The incredible benefit of this approach is that we become anti-fragile, not just resilient to life's shocks, but actually stronger because of them. The actionable steps to turn your life into a training ground require a small measure of courage. First, set a rejection goal. Deliberately seek out one small, low-stakes rejection each week. This could be asking for a small discount, submitting a creative piece of work, or extending an invitation you expect to be declined. The goal is not to succeed, but to willingly face the no and mindfully practice your inner response. Second, conduct a post-rejection analysis. After the event, reflect on your inner reaction. Did your ego flare up? Were you able to create a sense of distance? How could you respond with even more grace and tranquility next time? Finally, learn to lean into the feeling of discomfort and vulnerability, recognizing it as a clear sign that you are expanding your comfort zone and building real, tangible strength. The benefit of this practice is a gradual but total transformation into a person who is no longer afraid of failure. You will become more bold, more adventurous, and more free, secure in the knowledge that any outcome, whether a yes or a no, will only serve to make you stronger. This is your call to courage. Choose one small, manageable rejection to face this week. Remember, the aim is not the external outcome, but the internal practice itself. This is how you move from philosophical theory to true, lived inner strength. By intentionally training ourselves in the controlled fires of rejection, we prepare our spirit for the ultimate test of our philosophy. The final lesson of our journey will bring us to the very pinnacle of Stoic wisdom, the conscious choice of serenity over the endless and exhausting pursuit of validation. If you have made it this far, you are already well on your way. Show your commitment to this path by liking this video and sharing it with the world. Lesson 7. Choosing serenity over validation. The world will always offer you a profound choice: the fleeting warmth of external validation or the enduring inner fire of serenity. The wise soul learns through practice to always choose the fire. We are all familiar with the exhausting, never-ending hamster wheel of seeking approval. Even on the rare occasions when we get the validation we crave, the satisfaction is painfully temporary, and the deep hunger for more soon returns. This is the path of perpetual anxiety, a life spent outsourcing our happiness to others. The transformative solution and the ultimate goal of our Stoic practice in this context is to achieve a state of ataraxia, a profound and unshakable inner tranquility that is wholly independent of external events. The solution is to learn to consciously and consistently choose the inner path that leads to peace over the outer path that promises praise. The core idea is that this ultimate choice is the grand culmination of all the previous lessons we have explored together. It is the moment-by-moment, day-by-day decision to anchor in your own values, to reframe setbacks as lessons, and to observe your ego's desires with detached wisdom. The ultimate benefit is not a magical life without rejection, but a real life where rejection has lost its power to disturb the supreme peace of your inner world. The actionable steps to make this choice your default setting are practices of deep intention. First, implement the Serenity check. In any situation where you face a choice of action, pause and ask yourself this simple question. Will this course of action lead me closer to inner serenity, or is it merely a grasp for external validation? Second, practice amor fati, a love of your fate. This means embracing every outcome, including rejection, as a necessary and valuable part of your unique journey. Learn to see events not as good or bad, but simply as what is. Finally, regularly cultivate gratitude for your inner citadel. Take time each day to appreciate the inner strength, resilience, and peace you have so diligently built, regardless of what is happening in the chaotic world outside. The benefit of this sustained practice is the quiet, unshakable confidence of a person who has truly mastered their inner world. You become a calming presence, a source of your own contentment, a steady ship sailing calmly on a tranquil sea, no matter the weather. Your final practice is one of pure intention. For the next month, begin each day by setting a clear and simple intention. Today, I will choose serenity over validation. This single, daily commitment is the master key that unlocks a life of steadfast and unshakable inner peace. This is the essence of the Stoic path to overcoming the fear of rejection. Which of these 7 lessons resonated most deeply with you? Share your personal opinion in the comments below. Your journey and your insights inspire us all. Do not forget to subscribe to Stoic Dominion for more practical wisdom on the path to a fearless life. Today, we have journeyed through the very heart of rejection, transforming it from a source of great pain into a powerful tool for growth. By understanding its roots, taming our ego, and anchoring in our own self-worth, we reclaim our inner power and learn to choose serenity over validation. Thank you for joining us on this path of self-mastery. If this ancient wisdom has served you, please like, comment with your insights, and subscribe to Stoic Dominion to continue building your inner citadel.